We start tonight with international condemnation following Israel's decision to take control of Gaza City. Germany, one of Israel's staunchest allies, decides it no longer wants to provide weapons for this war. The move comes after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu received the backing of his cabinet for his plan to reoccupy parts of the Gaza Strip. It's a significant announcement from Berlin. Germany is the second largest supplier of weapons to Israel after the United States. Netanyahu has expressed his disappointment in a telephone call with the Chancellor. Merz says he is deeply concerned about the continued suffering of Palestinians and that the German government can't see how an expanded military offensive will help Israel achieve its stated goals in the war. The statement goes on to say, under these circumstances, the German government will not approve any exports of military equipment that could be used in the Gaza Strip until further notice. DW political correspondent Alex Gerst is here with me, and he has, of course, been following the story very closely today. Alex, how big a shift is this for Germany? Does this mean the times of Germany's unconditional support for Israel are over?
Well, we have heard from the Israeli Prime Minister some very strong words, so that gives us kind of an idea how big this decision of today is. He said that basically the decision, that shift in German policy, is a reward for Hamas terrorism. And it is certainly a major shift that Friedrich Merz, the German Chancellor, he has tried to soften it a bit in the statement when he announced that new policy. That policy starts with the words, Israel has a right to defend itself. The disarmament of Hamas is essential, and Hamas must not have power in future Gaza. And then he started to question again what Israel is doing in the Gaza Strip, and he said that the tougher military action that have been announced by the Israeli government, that they will fail in achieving those goals. And that is a decision today that comes after weeks of, I would say, readjusting the language. If we look back at January, Friedrich Merz, then was the opposition leader, not the chancellor, he said that whatever Israel needs to defend itself, they will get it. Now these restrictions come into play, and this basically leaves just one possible interpretation, and that is that the German government does not consider anymore the military action that Israel conducts in Gaza as crucial for self-defense.
This is a hugely divisive topic in Germany. You've been tracking reactions to this announcement. What are people saying?
Yeah, if we look at the opposition Green Party, they have been supportive of this measure. Also, the junior governing coalition party, the Social Democrats, they have expressed their support, and they even say that actually this now does not go far enough, so they want to see even more pressure. Very interesting is what we're seeing in the Conservative Party. We hear some people there saying, some members of parliament, that this has been an unavoidable step, so they support it. But, for example, the leader and member of the leader of the youth organization of the Conservatives and also member of parliament, he has been saying that this is a huge mistake and actually a breach of principles of German-Israeli relations. And he was saying that, quote, Israel is now doing the dirty work, but without German arms. So there we have again also that phrase, dirty work, that has been used before. And using that phrase actually shows us the split within the Conservative Party, that there are still some party members considering the military action, the Israeli military action in Gaza, an act of self-defense.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the Conservative Party is Friedrich Merz's party. Just to give our viewers some context here, Merz talks about weapons that can be used in Gaza. What does that entail?
Well, we know that since the start of the war in October, on October 7th, 2023, till May 2025, we know that small and light weapons from Germany have been delivered to Israel, ammunition also, and also components for tanks, for example. So this could potentially be affected. Maybe the government will also elaborate on that further and give more details. It's very important here to distinguish because we hear about weapons that I mentioned, but there are also, of course, other weapons that Germany has delivered to Israel in the past. For example, submarines or other military products and arms like missiles needed to defend Israel against Iranian airstrikes, for example. So those deliveries could potentially continue because the German government considers them crucial for the existence of the state of Israel.
What is the broader impact of this going to be, Alex?
Well, I would say there are some more phone calls will be needed between the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Friedrich Merz, the German Chancellor, to de-escalate that tension. To give you some context, when Friedrich Merz weeks ago started to talk critically about what Israel is doing in Gaza, back then the Israeli ambassador to Germany, he has said, we will listen because we know that Friedrich Merz is a friend of Israel. And Friedrich Merz, of course, would sign that immediately because he considers himself a friend of Israel and a very staunch supporter of Israel until today. But this harsh reaction now from Benjamin Netanyahu, calling a friend of Israel someone who's also rewarding Hamas terrorism, will certainly test the friendship, if not the German-Israeli friendship, then certainly the friendship and the relation between Friedrich Merz and Benjamin Netanyahu.
GW's Alex Gerst, thanks so much.
Right, let's bring in René Wildangel. He's a Middle East expert and historian based here in Berlin. Good to see you, René. Merz's decision is a big shift for Germany, one of Israel's staunchest allies. How did we get here? What has led to this decision, do you think?
Well, I think it is very obvious that the German government by now is very frustrated because they have been critical of the devastating Israeli policy on the ground in the Gaza Strip, but also in the West Bank for a while. We had Foreign Minister Wildangel in Israel delivering clear messages a week ago, and there was just no reaction from the Israeli side. Even more, we have heard about this recent decision to extend the offensive in the Gaza Strip. So I think the German government lost patience, and also criticism from within Germany has been mounting. German citizens are seeing the horrible pictures from Gaza every night, starving children, a humanitarian disaster in the Gaza Strip. And I think this was the reason why the German government decided to come from words, the words and the criticism has been there for a long time, to action.
And in terms of the suspension of weapons exports, René, how do you think the German Chancellor's decision will impact Israel's military capabilities? Do we know exactly which weapons Germany delivers currently?
Well, we do know it in part. And yes, I think there is a military significance, especially in the naval sector. Germany is the second biggest arms supplier of Israel, so it is significant. Obviously, number one is the US. And so far, this Israeli government gets all the equipment and all the arms that it needs from this US government. And I don't see any signs that this is going to change anytime soon. However, even more important than the military dimension, I think, is the political dimension, because it's a clear warning. We are not going to support a policy that is currently even increasing the humanitarian disaster. We want to mount the pressure towards a ceasefire, towards negotiations, towards a political horizon. And that is very important. And the big question now is, will there more steps follow? We have this EU debate about the freezing of the EU association agreement. So far, Germany has blocked this debate, was really not ready for this. So if the EU decision here might come, this might mount the pressure on this Israeli government to finally really change the policy on the ground.
Yeah, so your question was what steps will follow. Mine is what do you think this decision will mean for the Germany-Israel relationship going forward?
Well, I'm not even sure if it's right to talk about German-Israeli relationship. I think, first of all, it's the relationship with this particular government, with Netanyahu and his extremist coalition partners. Because we've heard in the report before, they have spelled out their vision very clearly: permanent occupation and potentially even expulsion of Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, but also from the West Bank. And interestingly, the statement by Chancellor Merz also mentioned the West Bank. It warned Israel to avoid further steps towards annexation in the West Bank. So that is very important. And obviously the relationship between the German government and the Israeli government is very bad right now. And I think that is also very important if we want to see a change on the ground. But we have also seen that in Israel, the criticism is mounting and that even the families of the hostages are desperate for pressure on Netanyahu, because this offensive, if it comes, it also endangers the Israeli hostages. So I think it's not really undermining German-Israeli relationships, but it is pressuring this government, while a large part of the Israeli public, as we have heard by now, is opposing this very policy.
Middle East expert and historian René Wildangel, thanks so much.
Thank you.